All right, here in round 2, and we're going to keep this hand a little bit land heavy, but we have all 3 colors and we've got some decent plays, so feels okay to keep. All right. Maybe this guy got those Mardu cards like Crackling Doom and Mardu Ascendancy that we passed. All right, no 2-drop, very good. Well, more land, not exactly what we need, but not the end of the world. All right. Guess we start with the Watcher of the Roost. Although, admittedly, I'd prefer to not trade for his morph if possible. Hey, very interesting. So he revealed a Salt Road Patrol to me, which he is presumably going to play post-combat. Well, So I could trade. Not sure I want to. I have a lack of creatures and I've got some combat tricks, so I think it's better to hold off on that for now. Let's see what we draw here. All right, pet's acceptable. Let's think about this. So I guess we do our Watcher, we gain our life, get in for 2. I think we actually want to play the Sidisi's pet, since he knows about the War Behemoth, and War Behemoth could potentially be better for us. I think we'll just play a Scoured Barrens and drop our pet. This also would let us unmorph our pet as well as play the War Behemoth morphed next turn, which I think is better. If we had dropped the War Behemoth there, it would have let us unmorphed it next turn, but a 3/6 doesn't do that much, whereas a 1/4 lifelink can actually attack into Salt Road Patrol, which is nice. Assume he's just going to swing for the fences, which is acceptable. All right. Unfortunately, that puts a stop on things. All right. Well, I guess we play our 5th land, and then I swing with my morph, since he thinks it's a... He thinks it's a War Behemoth anyway, so we're not going to unmorph it. We're actually going to drop our War Behemoth morphed now, and a Hate Blade leaving up a black source. I think that is the line. That way we can block the Salt Road Patrol. We have a blocker for the Watcher of the Roost. Got a couple morphs out there, but no more action. So we're on the hunt for some of our high value cards like Abzan Guide or stuff like that. All right, so we'll trade off our Watcher now since he doesn't do much of anything anymore. Just outlasting. All right. So I think we're just going to swing for the fences. Oosh. That was a bad draw. All right. Well, that's okay. So we'll swing for the fences. See what we can do here. No blocks, so I guess we unmorph the one that's more expensive. All right, and pass. Not in the worst position, but not in a great position either. This guy holds down the fort fairly well. We're going to have to figure out some way to stop this Kieran at some point. Alright, well, it's a big dude that I can't deal with, so gonna have to figure that out. More land, that's unfortunate, but these things happen. So I guess that we will swing with our Hate Blade and then pass. Unfortunately, taking a lot of damage, but that's okay. So definitely gonna die unless we come up with some solution immediately for the Lamassu. Alright, well, just drew a bunch of lands, nothing we can do about it. It's pretty rough, but swing for the fences, I guess. Dragon Scale Boon would have been pretty useful here. We've been able to undo this guy, maybe block his Patrol or War Shrieker, more likely the 4-power guy, but it's a pretty rough loss, but honestly, we just drew lands the whole game. There's nothing we can do about that. We drew way too many lands. But we're playing 18 lands. I'm not going to be butthurt about it. These things totally happen. You get flooded. Can't do anything. Got to accept it. All right. So what's our game plan? Game 2. I guess our game plan is draw better. Seems like a good game plan, right? All right. Let's draw better. All right. Let's try this again. See if we can get a slightly better hand. And yeah, this hand looks good. No white source though, which actually seems pretty bad. But because of the Watcher of the Roost, I think we're going to keep it anyway. I think we've got a reasonably high probability of eventually finding a white source and making this hand better. And even if we don't find it immediately, we can still get that Watcher of the Roost out and start pecking away at our opponent's life total. Hopefully. But yeah, we are going to need a white source to win this game. All right, still have not found it, which is a bit concerning, but it's okay. Confident we'll find it some point. All right, Esper colors, very interesting. All right, let's see if this is just a repeat of game 1. There's our white source right in the nick of time. All right, so now we reveal the Kieran. Swing with the Watcher. See if he's got his own. He does not. So we'll follow up with a Kieran and then we'll pass. In a pretty good spot now. Now I'm feeling much better because we're going to get to follow up with a Fortress. If he kills something, our Scavenger is going to be cheaper. So that white source came right at the perfect time. All right, Sign of Glaciers, not a big deal. Alright, another white source, which is fine. So we're just going to bash away and drop our fortress, who is a big ol' threat. The highest this thing power-wise can get is 6, which is not going to be able to kill our fortress, but it's a big ol' threat. Happy to get that out there. Can get to follow up with a scavenger next turn, which is also excellent. More stuff to evade into. Finally found his red source, so I should have probably been conscious of the fact that he was off of red up until this turn. So he can't throttle kill our fortress, which is good. We're in a great position to race, so if he wants to swing, yeah, I was going to say, if he wanted to swing in, I was going to be okay with that. So if I swing with fortress, he can only pump this twice. I'm trying to think what this could be. I'm not sure. I think we still swing with fortress. A little bit blindly, I guess. That could be like a ponyback brigade, but we shall see. It is a ponyback brigade, so he gets a chump blocker here, but we're still in pretty good shape. We get to follow up with a scavenger, and we are dealing a lot of damage from above. So he's just going to chump block. We're not in any real immediate danger of dying from trumpet blast because we're at a very healthy, high life total at the moment. So now we just play swamp and slam a scavenger and then pass. Full price scavenger, mind you. So very close to death on his side. He's got to come up with some good solutions to our fleet. Banner is not it. Could have a Jeskai Charm. That'd be pretty good for him. All right, Morph. Very tolerable. So he can pump his Scion only once, though. But that is enough to kill most of my guys, so we'll take it. Getting in for 3, but we're dishing a lot of damage back his way. Plus we have a follow-up play as well. If we get a pump effect here, we just kill him, which is not to be overlooked. All right, I think we just bash team. Then we drop the War Behemoth, hard cast, and pass. If I had an untapped land, I may have morphed it and played the Salt Road Patrol, but that is okay. So he's going to do a trade here and chump the fortress again. Still taking a lot of damage, though. More than he probably can afford to, and we'll drop our Behemoth. Make the best use of the mana here. Play our Blossoming Sands and pass. Still has to come up with a good solution for this fortress. Does not have many creatures left on the board. Brave the Sands is pretty good, but doesn't have anything that he can really do about the flyers as of yet. I'm actually kind of surprised he's running Brave the Sands against us. I don't think it's all that good against us, but I guess it's just good in his deck in general because he has all of these little chump blockers. I'm willing to trade a Behemoth for a Scion. Could ride down, I guess, but all right. Another land. All right, so I swing with Fortress. He still doesn't have a great block. He can double block, though, and protect himself. So I think what we do is just swing with these 3. All right. It's acceptable. I think he's trying to find a profitable way to trumpet blast us out, but I'm not going to let that happen. So we follow up with Assault Road Patrol, and then we'll pass. If only I could put some +1/+1 counters on my guy, I could actually use Fortress's ability. All right, he's digging pretty deep here, looking for something that can stop our 2 flyers. All he needed was a Kieran or any flyer, and he would have been able to double block. So, knowing he's got Brave the Sands, does that motivate me to want to bring in a race? You know, honestly, not really. Brave the Sands is a good card for him, but I still think I feel like we don't need it. I don't know what I'd want to cut for it either. I guess Skull Hunter gets slightly worse. I like all of our life linkers against his tokens. All of our 4 toughness guys get him out of Trumpet Blast range. I really feel like he's running Jeskai Charm. Jeskai Charm would make a lot of sense with all of his tokens. The +1/+1 lifelink mode would be really good for him. Death Frenzy is going to be just insane against him. Rite of the Serpent does seem slightly worse because the best creatures we've seen, the best creatures we've seen out of him are Scion of Glaciers and Alabaster Kieran, both of which are fine targets for Rite of the Serpent, but certainly not insane targets. That being said, I still think this is a good ace in the hole against some rough bombs that we haven't seen yet, so I think I'm going to leave it in. I don't think we have a sideboard. Erase is the only one for Brave the Sands, but since we managed to fly over top that time, I feel like we could very easily do that again, potentially, or trick him out. So, kind of tempted to just leave it the way it is and do it again. See if we get a good keep here. So, no white source again, but we are on the draw. We've got a couple morphs. I think I'm going to keep it. If we draw one of our 8 white sources, this hand gets significantly better. And if we draw any source, we can at least morph our dudes out. If we don't draw any lands, we'll get very dead very fast, but we got to hope we can be fortunate. All right. Land I'll accept. Not the resource I'm looking for, but that's okay. White source there would have been pretty nuts for the Bonken. All right. So I think we're doing Watcher here. Could also do the pet, but we'll do Watcher first. Could be a Ponyback Brigade. If this is a Watcher of the Roost, I think I do want to trade. The reason being, it would make my Scavenger cheaper. But if it's not a Watcher of the Roost, then I just want to take it. Okay. Oh, that's pretty rough. That's going to be pretty good against us. Especially if he gets another morph. All right. It's pretty good turn progression for him. It's going to be a tough one to beat, especially since we're already on the hunt for resources to keep us alive. But, all right. Didn't find our white source, which is definitely unfortunate, but certainly not the end-all, be-all. We do have this Dragon Scale boon, which is potentially a good ace in the hole at some point. So I think actually what we want to do is drop this Sidisi's pet and not block next turn. So we're in a pretty tough spot here, admittedly. We're in a tough spot. I got to come up with a good solution to all the damage we're going to be taking here. I don't want to leave my Watcher back because he's going to be able to unmorph his guys next turn, and if it's a pony back, I'm just going to be toast. So I don't think that's the right idea. I think we have to get in with our Watcher, and we're going to reveal a Warbehemoth, so he thinks that it's a Warbehemoth that we're morphing. If this is a Watcher, I guess I don't mind trading. since it still makes our scavenger cheaper. But we are going to drop the pet, and the plan is potentially at some point, hopefully draw a land next turn, which would let us unmorph and morph another dude, and then set up for a dragon scale boon. Or we can just double swing next turn and dragon scale boon. So, all right, Mystic of the Hidden Way is going to be a good clock, but I'm hoping this lifelinker is going to bring us back into it. A little bit surprised he kept his morph back there. That seems strange to me, but we'll take it. Taking some pretty big damage here, so still on the hunt for a white source. Certainly curious why he left back his morph, but happy that he did. I don't want to take any more damage than I have to. All right, found our white source, which could not have been a moment later. So I think we just swing with both. Maybe he just wants to trade off Watchers. Actually, I guess I keep my pet back to block his War Shrieker. All right, so we're just getting with the Watcher here, which is fine. Now I think that we drop the War Behemoth, and then we pass, and then we're going to unmorph pet to block War Shrieker, and at some point get him pretty good with a Dragon Scale boon. I could double block the War Shrieker. You know, actually I don't mind that because then we can play Scavenger. Kind of like that. Let's double block here. See how he doesn't have his black source yet. I probably should have noticed that. If he plays a trick here, it's actually okay. It's not great, but it's okay. All right, that's pretty problematic. Guess we're losing everything, so that's probably going to be game, which is unfortunate, but it happens. So we'll at least get a life out of it, but yeah, it's pretty bad. So that's probably going to be game, unfortunately. Wish it didn't end like that, but we had some mana issues and it took us a little bit too long to recover, so I do have an excuse. But yeah, I think at this point it's going to be tough to recover. I'm not exactly sure where the road to recovery is, as a matter of fact. It seems like we're a little bit too far down the rabbit hole at this point to recover, but these things happen. You have to accept them. You gotta draw good in Magic to win. That is how the game is played and how it works. So we still have some potential outs, but not many. I don't know. I can't really deal with that first striker all that well, and I still have to come up with some solution for that Mystic of the Hidden Way. So pretty rough outcome to that defensive spot there. But like I said, very complicated game, a lot of interactions, a lot of things can happen. And we just did not have a very quick and efficient start, unfortunately. I wish Death Frenzy worked a little bit better here. It's not quite as good as I would have liked. I can't even play Scavenger plus Bonkin, which is pretty depressing. All right, I guess the play is Scavenger and pass, and we chump block his Weapon Master, take another 3. We're going to then Death Frenzy, gain a little bit of life, possibly buy a little bit of time. Even the Dragon Scale boon doesn't get us out of first strike range, unfortunately. We are taking too much damage to forward here, but the best we can hope for is him playing a Morph, or even a Ponyback Brigade hardcast. Either of those options can potentially get us back in this. Death Frenzy, I will say, is not a bad draw, but it does not exactly put us right back in this. We still have some work cut out for us here. So, like I said, the best I can hope for is a morph or two toughness guys. I think take up arms is also going to be a big problem, but we'll see. Just a morph would be ideal. Assault Road Patrol is pretty bad still, unfortunately, but that's okay. I guess we have no choice but to Death Frenzy at this point. Um, unless there's some other play I'm not thinking of. No, well, what else can I do? I'd have to chump block the Weapon Master. So I think we have to just Death Frenzy pass. And then I'm going to have to Scavenger plus Dragon Scale Boon, which is still going to take another resource. So I think that we... What else can I do? I can also attack with Scavenger, Dragon Scale Boon to block the Weapon Master, take 5, go to 1, then maybe he plays some 1/1s that I can Death Frenzy away. That's not the worst thing I've ever heard. I'm trying to think. I can't Dragon Scale Boon plus play Scavenger, which is an issue. I could play the Bondkin and still Dragon Scale Boon. That might be actually the best option, but then it just allows me to trade with a Weapon Master, which isn't the best. No, I guess that's not true. Well, I see. That's tough. I do want to get in damage prevention mode here. What's my best play? I don't think Death Frenzy is the right play right now. As much as it prevents damage, which is good, I feel like I need to get more value since he's still got a grip of cards. Dragon Scale Boon is going to happen, so I guess I swing with the Scavenger and drop the Bondkin for chump blocks. I don't have to chump. I could just allow myself to go to 1, but I'm not sure. Really difficult play here. I guess I just swing with Scavenger. And then we drop the Bondkin, because otherwise I feel like he'll suspect a trick. Alright, so we'll boon now. I don't really want to take too much damage. I'm gonna Death Frenzy likely anyway, so let's just block like this. Alright, well, that's tough. At least we get to trade, I guess. But unfortunately, we're gonna die now to, well, I guess we're not necessarily dead, are we? So I can play Scavenger plus Death Frenzy, which we have to do. Guess I can play it post-combat. Not nearly as good as I would have wanted, unfortunately. So we're in a pretty bad place now, I would say. Probably our chances of winning this are extremely low. Not only are we very low on life, our opponent has a grip full of cards, and we are in top deck mode. So I would like to say that I have a lot of confidence that we could win this, but unfortunately that's just not true. Compound that with the fact that our opponent did not have a black source this entire game, and did not find a black source there, which is also very interesting. Um, but there is little to no chance of actually winning this, I would say. So now he's forcing us to block. Our situation got even worse. So pretty sad about the outcome of this match, but these things happen. You have to accept losses in stride. They happen all the time. That's one of the main reasons why I don't play 8-4s. I've noticed some comments on people saying I need to play more 8-4s, but I just beg to differ. It's absolutely untrue. I think 8-4s are just a money hole. Unless you think you can win every single time, which clearly I cannot, even after 63 drafts. I don't know why people think 8-4s are better for some reason. Um, I've played 180 matches for a little under $5 a draft on average, so I'm pretty happy with my track record in overall in cons. And losses like this happen all the time, where it's just you don't draw as well as your opponent. So I don't know why people would prefer 8-4s. It's confusing to me. But all right, we'll see you in round 3.